book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life. Today I am here to talk to you about my 2024 reading project. Last year I participated in the TBR 23 in 23 challenge, which is hosted by Jillian Dumas over on Instagram and also through her blog, Rose City Reader. I will link all of her accounts down below if you're interested in checking it out. So the parameters for TBR 23 and 23 were that you were to select 23 books off of your unread shelf prior to January 1st of that year. So anything you had purchased prior to January 1 was eligible. You could pick them in advance. You could pick them as you went along. You could swap out books if you picked something that then you didn't end up wanting to read. As long as it had been on your shelf since prior to January 1, it was eligible. I had such a good time. I read a bunch of books off of my shelf. I think I ended up reading about 32 books off of my unread shelf last year, which was better than I had done in many prior years. I have a lot of books on my unread shelves. This is just some of them. And so I, of course, decided to participate this year in TBR 24 in 24. And some of those books are right here on my book cart. I picked 24 books and last year I did it basically the same way. I picked my 24 books, but if there were books on there that just for whatever reason never kind of suited my mood, I swapped them out for other books. And because I was reading off of my shelf as much as I could, it was plenty easy to do those swaps. So I didn't do any kind of like, if I don't read this, I'm getting rid of it kind of thing. It wasn't a read or rid challenge by any means, because you just never know when a book is going to strike your mood. And already this year, I've read a couple of books that have been sitting on my shelves for so long, and I completely loved them. So you just never know what gems are going to come off of your shelf and into your life right at the right time. I was thinking about this project. I was thinking about my unread shelves. And as I mentioned before, I turned 50 back in October, and I was wanting to do something with my reading life that had something to do with turning 50. As a result, I have come up with my very own TBR challenge, which I am doing outside of the TBR 24 and 24 challenge, and I am calling it my 50 in my 50th year TBR challenge. So my goal is to read, in addition to the 24 books for my other TBR challenge, is to read an additional 50 books off of my shelves, at least. I am hoping that I can do more than that. We shall see. Like I said, I have lots and lots of unread books on my shelves, and I've always felt that it's so easy you hear about a book and it strikes your mood at that particular moment, and you rush out and you get it and you read it, and maybe it's fantastic, maybe it's just okay, maybe it ends up not being for you. But one of the things I have been thinking about this year is, okay, I just heard about this book. Do I have anything on my shelf that is similar to that book? Could I pick up something that will suit my current mood, that will sort of feed that whatever it was about the description of the other book that I don't own, that could sort of fulfill that desire I have for that type of a story? It works sometimes. It doesn't work other times. Sometimes you just want to read the book that you just heard about. And sometimes I don't have things on my shelf that, fit into the same box as that particular book. Sometimes we just need new books in our life. As you can tell from my book haul video, book buying bans are not my thing. And I may have already purchased some more books, and we'll have another book haul video coming very soon. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys the overall plan for my reading year in terms of my unread shelves. I would really love to read some of the books. I am particularly focusing on books that have been on my shelf for multiple years. So I have books that probably have been sitting on my shelf for over a decade, maybe 2 decades. I don't know. I do unhaul books sometimes when I haven't read them. Then I have sometimes repurchased books that I unhauled that I thought I didn't want to read and then changed my mind and did want to read. That has happened, you know, bookworm problems. I have already read 2 books, as I mentioned, from my TBR 24 in 24 challenge that have been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and they will be coming in my February wrap-up video. As I do my monthly wrap-up videos going forward, I will share with you which of the books fall into, first off, the TBR 24 and 24 challenge, and then second off, if they fall into my 50 in my 50th year TBR challenge as well. So you can keep track along with me as to how I am doing. So far this year, I have read 4 books for my TBR 24 in 24 challenge. I really like that this year, if you divide out the number of books by the number of months in the year, you can read 2 books per month and you will complete the challenge by the end of December. So I'm sure there will probably be months where I'm read more than that. At least I hope there is, because I'd hate to come to December and be like, I don't know what I want to read, or I don't want to read the 2 books that are left on my shelf, or left on the challenge, but we will see how that goes. And again, I'm not opposed to swapping out books as long as they were on my shelf prior to January 1. And the same thing goes for my 50 and my 50th year TBR challenge. Those books all need to have been on my shelf prior to January 1. And so far, I have read 10 books off of my shelf. So for this year, I have read 14 books off of my unread shelves, which I'm pretty proud of. So, you know, if I stuck to that, which works out to be about 7 books a month, I think I'll make a pretty good headway by the end of the year. So I'm hoping to do more than that, obviously, and I am currently reading another book that qualifies for my 50 and my 50th year TBR challenge. So that will make 11 books by the end of February. And maybe I'll squeeze in one more, who knows? There's still a few days left in the month. And, you know, I did quite a lot of reading in January. I don't think February is going to be quite as many books as January, which is perfectly fine. I still am having a very good reading month. I would love to hear in the comments from you. Do you have any reading goals for the year? Are you working on reading unread books on your shelf? You know, talk to me a little bit about that. I tend not to give myself very specific reading goals, because when I do, I tend to be like, that's the exact opposite of what I want to read. So, but these very general, just reading off of your shelves challenges have really been working for me. And so if that's something that you think might work for you, feel free to join if you want to try to read 50 books off of your unread shelf as well. If you're 50 or in your 50s, or if you're 30 or 35 and you want to read 35 books off of your TBR, I would love for you to join. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and learning a little bit about what my goals are for the year. They're very open-ended, which is how I like to read, because I'm very much a mood reader and I just never know what's going to strike my fancy at any moment in time. So like I said, I'm hoping to get through all of the books that are on this top shelf of my book cart here for TBR 24 and 24. And then I am reading off of my shelves for my 50 and my 50th year TBR challenge. And if you see any books behind me that you want to recommend and think I should read right away or prioritize, please do let me know. And I hopefully am going to insert a little bit of footage here to show you some of the books on my shelves. And I'm going to pull out a few of the books that have been sitting there for many years. And maybe some of you can entice me to read those as well. So again, thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you are not already subscribed and would like to see more bookish content from me. And as always, I will be back with another video very soon. Thank you so much. Bye.